Gather round, crew, because Wednesday, there is a meeting that reaches into your budget more directly than almost anything else in this whole news cycle. The Federal Reserve decides what interest rates do, and in the last 7 days, the odds of them raising rates on Wednesday nearly tripled. Now here is what makes that strange, friends, and why we are spending a whole episode on a committee meeting. The economic data that arrived during those same 7 days pointed the other direction. First, the move itself. On CME Group's FedWatch measure, which tracks what traders are actually betting, the probability of a quarter-point rate increase this Wednesday now sits at 34.2%. 7 days ago, it was 12.8%. That is not a drift, friends. That is a lurch. In 1 week, the market went from treating a hike as a long shot to treating it as a live possibility, roughly 1 chance in 3. Now the data that landed in that same window. June's Consumer Price Index came in at 3.5% over the year. That is down from 4.2% in May. It is the first decline in 5 months, and it came in below the 3.8% economists were expecting. Core inflation, the measure that strips out food and energy, fell to 2.6 from 2.9, and the monthly reading was actually negative, minus 0.4%. Friends, that is not a mixed picture. Every one of those numbers moved the direction a central bank wants. And the Fed has 2 jobs, not 1, prices and employment. So look at the other side of the mandate. June payrolls added 57,000 jobs, well below what was expected, with unemployment at 4.2%. 57,000 is a soft month, friends. Ordinarily, a soft jobs number is the argument against raising rates, because higher rates cool hiring further. So both halves of the Fed's mandate just reported in, and neither of them asked for a hike. So why is a hike suddenly live? Because of a fight inside the building. Oscar Munoz, head of U.S. economics at TD Securities, expects 2 hawkish dissents on Wednesday, and he put it like this: the July FOMC will be a family feud, just as Kevin Warsh intended. And that phrase is not a jab from outside, friends. Family fight is the chair's own language. Warsh has used it repeatedly since his nomination hearing back in April, and this month he said committee members have no tolerance for persistently elevated inflation. Back in June, the committee split evenly, 9 and 9. This is a divided house by design. The fares shake, and the hawks have a genuine argument that deserves stating properly. Energy is still running 15.7% above a year ago, gasoline 26.7%, and the New York Fed's July survey has households expecting 3.7% inflation a year from now. That last one is the number that actually scares central bankers, friends, because expectations are self-fulfilling. Once people believe prices will rise, they price and bargain like it, and belief becomes the thing itself. A Fed that looks passive while people expect inflation can lose the anchor entirely. That is a real risk, and it is why serious people are voting hike. Here is the difficulty with that case, though, and it is mechanical rather than political. What is pushing energy prices right now is a war in the Persian Gulf. Tankers are not sailing. The desk next door has been counting them for 11 volumes. And an interest rate cannot reach any of that. Raising the cost of borrowing in America does not reopen the Strait of Hormuz, does not unmine a shipping lane, and does not put a single tanker back in the water. It fights an oil shock by cooling the demand of people who had nothing to do with it. So what does it reach? You. Freddie Mac put the 30-year mortgage at 6.58% on July 23rd. That is what a rate decision touches: the house payment, the car loan, and the balance you are carrying on a card, which reprices inside a single billing cycle. A quarter point does not sound like much until you run it across 30 years of a mortgage. The oil shock came from a war nobody at that table started, friends, and the tool being reached for lands on a kitchen table in Ohio. Ledger it then, and keep this one handy for Wednesday. Inflation fell, hiring softened, and the odds of a rate hike nearly tripled anyway, because a divided committee is worried about what people believe rather than what the last print said. That may even prove right, friends, but when they explain it, listen for whether they are fighting prices or fighting expectations, because those are different jobs. The funds rate cannot reach the Strait of Hormuz. It can reach your mortgage. See you at the next shift. I'm Marcus, and this is Pixel Politics.